Okay, now that episode 1 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier has dropped, I wanted to give some of my thoughts on the show without having to worry about spoilers. If you're looking for a review that doesn't contain spoilers, I've linked my review in the description below. So this starts off with a pretty crazy action sequence. I love that we are thrown into the action just almost immediately. Anthony Mackie as Sam just oozes confidence, but I never felt that he was cocky. When he's on the plane getting ready to jump and he just falls backwards out of it and into that free fall, it was so exciting and it was really cool to watch. The fight then that ensues on the plane with the hostage, I thought that was great too because of the close quarters limitations. They captured the action in an exciting way despite it being a little too darkly lit. My son watched with me and he had just recently watched The Winter Soldier, so he recognized Batroc, I don't know, from the film, who's now leading this group of terrorists. I didn't recognize the dude, so I'm glad that he pointed that out to me. We see Batroc escape, sort of, but I'm curious if he's going to make another appearance later on. I thought it was really cool to see Falcon use his wings as the shield too. And maybe we've seen that before, but I don't remember it being so epically cool as the wings just intuitively respond to him. And did you like that squirrel suit chase through the air and the canyons? I was loving it, especially with how they had the cameras mounted to the flyers, and it just really put us right into the action. All those chase sequences with the helicopters and missiles I thought were a ton of fun, especially as Falcon whips in and out of the choppers, almost nonchalantly at times, where he just and he's just right there. Hey, I thought it was a really great way to open up the show, but then I was surprised that Sam gives Cap's shield, well, really, it's his shield now, to the Smithsonian, and he just declines to be Captain America. And that reluctance to take up the mantle of Captain America should set up a lot of conflict later on in the show, especially with what we see at the end of the episode with a new Captain America being introduced. It's interesting and frustrating also to hear Sam discuss turning it down with Rhodey. And speaking of Rhodey, did his legs get fixed all of a sudden, or is he just using some super close-fitting leg apparatus to allow him to walk now? I kept watching his legs. I was really focusing just to see if I could make out the technology, but I didn't see it. Did you notice that? I'm also digging the introduction of Sam's sister and nephews. The struggle they've had during the blip introduces a lot of tension between Sam and her. I think this will play a larger role in Sam's motivations as the show goes along. Plus, I really like the character of Sarah Wilson. She's feisty, and I think that there will be some fun sparks between her and Sam that really could lead to either drama or laughs, and probably both. Then we get to Bucky. That opening sequence, I was honestly just a little confused at first. Even when I saw the silver arm, I'm thinking, what happened to his other arm? But then that combined with his hair really let me know pretty quickly that this was something from the past, and we're seeing like some sort of flashback thing. I like that we have a conflicted Bucky who's now working through his traumas. He's a character with a pretty rich backstory, and while we know a bunch about it, there's still a lot of areas that can be delved into and give him even more complexities. I really love the interaction between him and his therapist too. Just the snarky and sarcastic comments that come from Bucky, but then the retorts that come from her. Their combination really made me chuckle. I think it's interesting that we now have Bucky trying to get rid of the red in his ledger. It's pretty obvious when he's having lunch with that old guy and the guy starts mentioning his son that it's the guy from Bucky's dream that he had killed. And so we know that that's going to set up something. And when Bucky's on his first date, it made me laugh out loud when she makes comments about him being old and he said he's 106. And just the look on his face, the smirk that he made, was just priceless. These scenes though really set up the emotional slate for Bucky, and I think this will also be exploited more when Zemo finally comes into the picture. The question of just how emotionally healed he really is should come into play. So that scene, was it in Switzerland, where Torres is tracking that unknown group of bad guys, and that masked dude, that wasn't Zemo, right? From what I've seen in the stills and even teaser stuff, Zemo is wearing kind of this purple balaclava. He looks a little bit like Mushmouth. The dude that we see who has just that amazing strength, he looks larger. So is he just like a henchman? And is the handprint group LAF that's mentioned at the very beginning of the episode? My knowledge of the MCU only comes from the movies, hence the CU part, the cinematic universe. So has LAF been mentioned before? I think I'm going to need to go back and rewatch Winter Soldier and Civil War again just to refresh myself and see if I can catch any nuances that may come into play here in the series. And thinking back to that mask, did you instantly think orc when you saw the masks with the handprint on them? That's all I see anytime I see someone's face or a mask with a handprint plastered askew on it. Well, I loved how the show took the time to set up the characters. I'm a little bummed that we didn't see Bucky and Sam together, especially since this is only a 6-episode season. That's not a ton of time to do all the things. I'm looking forward to the back and forth banter that the trailer promised. So what did you think of this first episode? Did it live up to your expectations, or did it leave you wanting? And what are some of the things that you are most looking forward to in this and hope that they happen? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.